Welcome back to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. There is a lot of pressure on Chief Justice Madam Martha Koome to come clean and explain what many legal experts and pundits believe is a choreographed plan to frustrate the judges and magistrates who have made rulings and verdicts that go against the wishes of William Samoei Ruto. It started a few months ago when Judge Thande Mugure ruled against Ruto's Finance Bill 2023 after it was passed in Parliament, and Okia Mutata rushed to the courts seeking legal redress on this very matter. And Judge Mugure had his prayers and granted him and the other Kenyans who went to court to stop it. It didn't last long, and in a reshuffle that is always given a green light by the Chief Justice, Justice Mugure was transferred to Malindi. And experts questioned the motive behind it, but it was explained that it was a normal exercise that usually happens every now and then. Now, again, recently, we have the senior magistrate, Eunice Nyoto, a lady who does not need any introduction in the legal field because many describe her as a very controversial, judge or magistrate because she had made rulings before that are not very friendly to the executive. You all know that she's the one who was handling the Aror and Kimarer delicate case, a case that was involving one of Ruto's very close allies, the former Treasury CS Henry Rotich, who was suspended during the last regime. And William Ruto said very categorically that this was a political machination against people who had sworn allegiance to him when he initiated his quest to become the president of this country. So this case has dragged on and on from 2019 until recently, when Chief Magistrate Nyoto gave her final verdict. And she said very categorically that all the 8 accused were acquitted as a result of dereliction of duty from the prosecution. And Madam Nyoto noted that the office of the DPP intentionally frustrated this case to collapse. And she said that she was even recommending some changes, warning this office that there is no need of putting forward a case that they don't want to pursue to the end, because according to Madam Nyoto, this office was frustrating this case. And many experts believe that you could connect what was happening with Ruto's conviction that there was no case here, because he believed that his predecessor, Uhuru Kenyatta, was trying to frustrate those who supported him. So recently, in fact yesterday, people woke up to news that in another reshuffle, Madam Eunice Nyoto has been transferred from a Nairobi court, from Milimani court to Keroka. Keroka is somewhere in Nyamira County. And when people heard this, they started questioning what exactly is happening. It was Magistrate Mugure Thande who ruled against Ruto's appetite to tax Kenyans, and he was transferred to Malindi. Now, Madam Nyoto, who did not support Ruto's position that Aror and Kimarer was hot air, in fact, she believed that there was a case, except that the people who were supposed to help Kenya retrieve their money that has been stolen frustrated this case. Madam Nyoto has been transferred. And people are asking what exactly is happening, because it seems there is a plan to frustrate the magistrates who go against William Samoei Ruto. The ghost of Aror and Kimarer is not resting in peace. It is still lingering and lurking along the corridors of justice, especially in the judiciary. And anyone who dares stand in front of this ghost must find it himself or herself as a victim. Now the latest is the very brave and controversial magistrate Eunice. But what exactly is happening? Because this is coming after William Ruto had threatened and warned the judges who ruled against his what he called agenda. He actually mentioned that Uhuru Kenyatta, together with other wealthy people, decided to sponsor some Kenyans to go to court, and that they are working it out with the judges that he called corrupt judges to frustrate his agenda. Of course, this elicited a lot of warning from very many legal minds. But it seems it is not ending, because if there is one person who does not see Ruto's mischief, it is the president of the judiciary, Madam Martha Koome. Recently, they had a meeting in State House against the chagrin and warning from the opposition and other legal experts that by taking a step to go to State House, it is like coiling her tail and compromising her position to protect judges, because judges were under threat and attack from the executive arm of the government. We can clearly see that the freedom and independence of our judges is at stake. Even though Ruto says that he respects the autonomy of our courts, he is not being honest, because you cannot have or pronounce yourself that you respect the independence of the court, but at the same time say that you will not respect court verdicts that go against you. In fact, as we speak, the courts ruled against Haiti, something that William Ruto does not like, while outside the country, he made it very clear that he will continue with the mission to take 1,000 policemen to Haiti. Then the courts also found that his housing levy was very unconstitutional and very discriminatory, and the court ordered that the people who had been deducted, the civil servants, must be given back their money. Instead, Ruto has remained adamant, and this money is still being collected. So he does not really support the independence of the institution. And people are wondering, why can't Madam Martha Koome use their cordial relationship to call Ruto to order? Because she had warned that Ruto will take the country into anarchy. But at the same time, those were just verbal pronouncements, because they are still working together, and she does not seem to be protecting the judges whom she's got the mandate of protecting. So the independence is still at stake. It also means that the integrity of the EACC, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, another body that is supposed to be independent, is in question, because fighting corruption lies within the purview of the EACC. They are supposed to help retrieve money that has been stolen, corruption cases. But it seems like the executive arm of the government is calling the shots. Is there any freedom? Can they really discharge their duties independently? If judges who try to exercise their autonomy and independence as they discharge their duties are being frustrated, because, transfers and reshuffling is something that is very legal. It is within the legal framework. But when you do it in a clandestine manner, people begin to question. And you see, when someone wants to frustrate you, they will always look at something that looks very legal. For example, now, you cannot take maybe Madam Martha Koome to court that she's frustrating the other judges. She will tell you this is a normal exercise. In fact, many people are saying that the next judge who should be very ready is Chacha Mwita, the man who ruled against William Ruto in the housing levy, because they believe that anyone who rules against Ruto will have the executive powers to contend with. So they are using some, legal threshold or loophole to ensure that they do it in a manner that no one will question. It also means that William Ruto's threats were very real, because I remember he threatened and intimidated the judges and warned them. Something that elicited a lot of reaction from the East African Magistrate Courts, the Commonwealth Judges Association. Very many legal bodies came up. And I remember people even staged demonstrations to call Ruto to order, because you cannot frustrate an independent, arm of the government. The judiciary is given equal mandate by the people of Kenya, just the same way they have given the executive and the legislatures. But you see, the executive arm of the government has captured all the other independent institutions and all the other arms of the government. Judiciary is not working independently. The legislative arm of the government, parliament, is not working independently. In fact, at that meeting in State House, Wetangula was there, Chief Justice was there. Immediately they completed that meeting, Wetangula, a man who is supposed to be the Speaker of the National Assembly, not the Speaker of UDA, went to court to appeal against a ruling that went against Ruto on the housing levy. And people are wondering, is he working for William Ruto or for the people of Kenya? And the former is the answer. So there is no independence. And Madam Martha Koome must wake up. People are really wondering. If you compare Martha Koome and the former Chief Justice David Maraga, there is a very bold line. Maraga was straightforward and could confront the executive whenever there was an issue. Now, CJ Koome has really decided to coil her tail, and she's also working in part to frustrate, because if William Ruto is frustrating judges or threatening them, and Martha Koome is using her powers, initiating some reshuffle here and there, transferring those who have ruled against William Ruto, then Martha Koome is part and parcel of the threats and the predicaments of the judges. That is it. Because you either stand with the truth or you stand against the truth. In this case, CJ Koome is being very dishonest. It takes me to my last point, that 2027, if Kenyans want to ensure that they defeat William Ruto, it must be made resoundingly that this case should not go it must not reach the Supreme Court, because if it does, you've already seen that after the meeting in State House, Raila gave us another dossier that William Ruto and Martha Koome are crafting another plan to ensure that there will be judges who are very friendly to the government. Such cases always start at the High Court. So they want that anytime such cases get at the High Court level, then they will have friendly judges. If it passes there at the Court of Appeal, friendly judges. And finally, that Wafula Chebukati, the former IEBC boss, will be the Chief Justice when Madam Koome exits. So that in 2027, if anyone would dare take William Ruto to court in a disputed presidential case, then automatically the case will be dead on arrival. And if Kenyans, from the behavior of Madam Martha Koome and William Ruto, if Kenyans would wish to defeat William Ruto, then it has to be on the ballot, because there is no any chance that the opposition will win at the Supreme Court level. I know Kenyans are tired of this government, but they must do more than just talking, than just lamenting. They must pronounce themselves at the ballot box in a way like it happened in 2002 or 2007, that it will be very difficult for anyone who has got some crafty plans to mess with the elections. And ladies and gentlemen, we are really looking at a very sad state of affairs when our judges are not independent. They are being frustrated. So it means that any judge who is not courageous enough and does not want to leave or vacate her place or his place in Nairobi will have to be compromised so that they can keep their positions here in Nairobi. I don't know what to think, but I think we are really facing a very sad state of affairs.